And welcome back to Good Morning Namibia here on NBC One. Namibia's mining sector continues to play a critical role in the country's economy, contributing significantly to exports, employment and investment. As global demands grow for minerals linked to energy transition and industrial development, Namibia is increasingly positioning itself as a competitive and reliable mining destination. Now, to unpack what this means for the country, the role of infrastructure and how financial institutions are supporting the sector, we are joined this morning by Mr. Keegan Strydom, Relationship Manager for Mining at RMB Namibia. Good morning and welcome, Mr. Strydom.
Good morning, Crystal.
Mr. Strydom, for people who don't follow mining closely, like myself, what makes Namibia an important mining country right now?
Access to critical minerals is important at this point in time, and Namibia has some of those, lithium specifically. But we've obviously also got regionally significant deposits of uranium and diamonds. So those are what really drive the interest in Namibia.
And why are community relationships and trust becoming just as important as mineral resources?
I think the most important story is that everybody comes from a specific home, and those homes are impacted by what happens at work. So from that perspective, it really becomes important that you take your community along the journey, and everything that the mine does supports those activities. So the more engaged people are with the mining communities and the mines themselves, the more informed they'll be.
When we hear infrastructure challenges, it sounds like such a big term and it scares us. But what did the INDABA help us to see differently in terms of infrastructure challenges?
So one of the things that the theme was partnerships at the INDABA. And what we recognize is that as SADC, we need to come together as a bloc. We've got various corridors that go through our countries. So in Namibia specifically, we've got the Trans-Caprivi that connects us with Zambia, the Trans-Kalahari that connects us with Botswana, and the Trans-Orange that connects us with South Africa. So just based off of that, you can see that we need regional coordination. Some of the manganese that's mined in South Africa comes through Namibia. Some of the coal that gets mined in Botswana comes through the Trans-Kalahari. So regional coordination, just by the matter of the infrastructure, shows why that's important.
And you mentioned some of these infrastructure now, but what kind of these infrastructure, ports, rail, water, energy, matter most for Namibia's mining growth?
So essentially rail, if we've got a functioning and very capable rail system, we'd be able to unlock immense value. That means trucks off our roads, means safer roads. From a port's perspective, the greater the capacity, the more we can hold, the more volumes we can move. And from a water security point of view, mines need water to process, so do communities. And if we can improve that kind of infrastructure, it unlocks immense value, not just for the mine, but also for the communities in the country at large.
Still on infrastructure, does the private sector like yourself partner with government to upgrade and maintain these type of infrastructure? We just recently had a train derail because of infrastructure challenges. Is the private sector coming on board with that?
So normally the mechanism that the government uses is called public-private partnerships, and that's where financial institutions like ourselves would get involved in funding this. The risk with, or the opportunity with public-private partnerships, PPPs for short, is who owns the infrastructure and the economic value and benefit. So obviously these are costly projects. Road expansions cost billions, and how to regain or recoup that capital investment is normally the critical factor. So that's normally what short circuits these kind of interventions. But they are not, and we've seen that at the INDABA, they are not a limiting factor. We can definitely cross that bridge.
And why is a well-run mine sometimes a better investment opposed to a mine without a bigger deposit, for instance?
So essentially, we bank off of the cash flows that come from a mine, and if we ensure that these cash flows are certain, we can offer a lot better returns. I mean, we put depositors' money at risk when making these investments, and we want to make sure to our shareholders and who are the depositors, we want to make sure that their capital is well invested. So a better run mine or well run mine is a much better investment, a safer investment.
Safer investment, you say. And in simple terms, how is RMB helping to build a stronger, more inclusive mining sector for Namibia?
So with RMB, we look at each and every, so my portfolio, I look at the mining and resources space, and what we look at is how we can improve a client's cash flow position, for instance, with discounted cash flow invoicing, for instance, or not necessarily just loans. When everybody thinks of a bank, it's normally just from a perspective of loans or debt. So there are many vehicles that we have hedging from a foreign exchange or commodities perspective, and then trade and working capital solutions that allow clients to stretch the dollar, as it were.
Yes.
So that's what we offer at RMB.
And when you look ahead, what gives you confidence in Namibia's mining sector?
I think firstly, just from a macro perspective, our government and sometimes there's one or two missteps, but together collectively, we've always got a spirit that Namibia can and will succeed. I think we just need to improve the level of dialogue we have, and that's why the community participation is so critical, to hear all the voices on the table. And the size of our resource, I mean, and the potential that it exists, that's what excites me about Namibia and its future.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Strydom.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, Crystal, for having me.